Hi, and welcome back to another edition of Inside O-Town. My name is Greg Normand. We have a very special guest this week in Andy Meisner, who is the Oakland County Treasurer. And Andy had a chance to stop in here at OTV 189 and talk about a variety of subjects related to the Treasurer's Office, delinquent taxes, all kinds of programs that are available. You might not know this, but if you want to start your own business, Andy's department at the Treasury at the Oakland County government can help you out. And it's a variety of things that I didn't even know. So stay tuned and we'll have a nice conversation with Andy Meisner.
Hey folks, I'm Steve Butler. This is my garage. So come see what's going on in the garage here on your local access channel. That's the money, baby!
Welcome back to another edition of Inside O-Town. We're talking with the Oakland County Treasurer, Andy Meisner. Andy, welcome to Ortonville.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
It's nice to see somebody from the county level coming out and reaching out to local communities. And you had mentioned a while ago that you're kind of reaching out from an outreach program. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, there's a number of things that bring me to Ortonville. One of them is that one of the jobs of the county treasurer is to deal with the delinquent property taxes. From time to time, family falls on hard times and has trouble paying their property taxes, and I'm real committed to helping people save their homes. So I was last in Ortonville doing some door-to-door and visiting some homes of some families that we hadn't been able to connect with, but we offer payment plans, and there's a program called Step Forward Michigan that helps people pay up to $30,000 of their delinquent taxes. And so yeah, I think it's important to reach out and make sure that people know what we do at the Treasurer's Office, how we can serve them, and what resources are available to to help them out.
You were the treasurer for 10 years.
That's right. I started in 2009, and so maybe just a little bit less.
Prior to that time, you were in the State House.
Yep, I was a state representative representing South Oakland County, and had 6 communities down there, and was chairman of the Commerce Committee. Did a lot of work trying to promote entrepreneurship. That's something I think is alive and well right here in Ortonville and Oakland County, and just trying to illuminate the path for people to think about starting their own business. We're kind of a big company town in Michigan. We think a lot about the big three and which of the autos we're going to go to work for, and it's not like that everywhere. There's other places in other countries where first thing that people ask is, hey, what business can I start for myself? How can I be a job provider? And so that's something that we do a lot of at Oakland County, and something I'm personally really interested in, including, by the way, our entrepreneurial boot camp. So if there's anybody out there in the vast Mortonville TV audience who is interested in starting a business, we have an entrepreneurial boot camp where they can get one-on-one counseling for free to help them get the financial fundamentals in place, and figure out if their business can make sense on paper, and then they get started and begin to grow, and then we send them over to the business one-stop shop at Oakland County, which helps some of the more sophisticated businesses with their needs.
Programs like Shark Tank fuel some of those kinds of programs, because obviously people are trying to.
I love that show,
right.
And I'm glad that you asked about it, because what I see Shark Tank really doing is elevating the role of the entrepreneur in our society, which I think is important, and it gets people thinking about it, and it's such a cool glimpse into some of the key decisions that you have to make to be a successful entrepreneur. But my wife and I were just watching that last night, and I feel like you get a little education in business every time that you watch that. I like that one.
Well, you walk into it, and obviously you have to know your stick, and your entrepreneurial program kind of probably provides that information.
Yeah, it's going to help them get their basics down so that they can talk about the financials, they can figure out what cash flow is, how to project cash, revenue, expenditure, profit and loss, just some of the basics, so that their business can be built on a really strong financial foundation. And that's what we want for everybody in Oakland County. We want everybody in the county to have a strong financial foundation.
How do you qualify for that program?
You just call us. Give us a call at 248-858-0611. We'll get you connected with one of the counselors. They can visit our website at oakgov.com/treasurer, and we work it out for whenever it's convenient. And there's also loans that are available. We've done a lot of work trying to make something called a micro loan available.
Explain that.
Say that you've started your business, you're a year or two into it, and you've just been shoestringing it and doing it off of your credit card, but you need to take the next step forward. And you're not in a position where you're necessarily going to qualify for a traditional bank loan. Well, that's where the micro loan strategy comes in. And the micro loans are loans usually between $5,000 and $50,000. So a little bit on the smaller side. Some of them will go down to $500. And the credit requirements are a little bit different. They look at some different things, and they want to try to provide some hands-on assistance to make sure that the business is successful. But there's a number of microloan programs, including one that we do at the county, that folks can give us a call and learn about, or check in with the business one-stop shop that Greg Doyle runs at the county, and they've got the same lineup, and they're here to help.
Where does money come from those? Is that a federal government program?
The one at the county is actually county taxpayer dollars that are invested in this strategy.
Okay.
And so it's been $100,000 a year, and it's something that we across the board, Brooks, all the leadership at the county really supports, and the county commissioners, and
so a seed program.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And SEED is the nonprofit that administers it for us, although I think they might have changed their name or something. But but they can learn more about that through our office. And there are also microloan programs that some of the different banks offer. Huntington Bank is offering a microloan product. I think Flagstar is doing the same, and I'm sure that some of our local community banks, Clarkson State Bank, and some of those others, Oxford, are probably doing the same as well.
Now, you've mentioned a half a dozen programs in the first, 90 seconds of this show, and I guess the first question I would like to ask is, do we know as much about Oakland County? Do we all know as about Oakland County treasurers as we should? Are local folks you get the impression that we know a lot about what you guys do?
Well, I think that there's always room to grow, and that, you know, for a democracy to flourish, you know, people have to not only know who their elected officials are and how to access them, but they got to be able to actually do that. And to do it, I think they have to know what's going on. And so I think it is a real serious responsibility, and so does my office, to communicate in every way that we can across as many different channels as we can about some of our important resources. You know, the most important being working with us on a payment plan to save your property from tax foreclosure. That's the most serious. And then also some of these other helpful resources, like helping people with their personal finance, beefing up their credit score, you know, getting kids ready to kind of get out into the world and be able to manage their finances like we do at Oakland County, which is in a pretty thoughtful and forward-looking way.
Oakland County has to be at the top of the list in profit and loss in terms of its standing in Michigan.
Well, we're way up there. Yeah, we've got a lot of prosperity.
We're fortunate to be in that situation. I'm curious on the delinquent side of, where do we rank in terms of the state in terms of delinquent properties?
Well, we have a little bit more than some of the out rural counties, but you know, this year we're probably going to have about 350 tax foreclosures. To give you some scale, in 2012, 2013, which was kind of the worst of the worst, and the property taxes are on a 3-year schedule. So the 2009 property taxes came up in 2012, and so that was right around the worst time. We got up to about 1,600 tax foreclosures. In my book, one of them is too many, but if you contrast that with our friends in Wayne County, you know, they experienced, I think, 40 or 50,000. So we're towards the bottom, and the thing I love to see is that the trend line has been pointed down. And, you know, there's no reason for somebody to lose their property to tax foreclosure. My office has offered over 20,000 payment plans to Oakland County residents over the last 6-7 years. And, you know, if you're willing to meet us halfway and make a monthly payment that's based on your budget, then, you know, I think there's no reason that should happen.
Maybe explain to somebody who is behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
All you have to do is pick up a phone.
Yeah, you know, and
isn't that pretty much most of it?
That's right. A phone. We're friendly. You know, we focus a lot on the tone of our public service, and we take a humble approach because we know that we're serving the people that are our bosses, and we also know that it's a situation that could be a little bit scary because the government is saying, hey, you haven't paid your taxes and we're going to take your property. And so we try to humble ourselves and be like, hey, let's work together to find a solution that works for everybody.
Is that a new strategy?
It's a new strategy since I started there.
Okay.
And we systematized the monthly payment plan structure. And I got coupons just like you get for your mortgage and your car note to try to make those payments a little bit more standard. And we've had good success with it. We've had over a 90% collection rate.
Right.
And every dollar that we collect is money that, you know, the rest of the Oakland County taxpayers don't get stuck picking up the tab for, and that's really important.
Plus you don't have to worry about, you know, doing with empty property at some point and selling or foreclosing or doing something along, you know, those lines.
That's plan B, and we don't like to get to plan B, and most of the time, you know, plan A is successful where we get somebody on a payment plan, or, you know, we get them connected with this Step Forward program, and that's a program where if somebody's suffering a hardship, they live in the home that they own, they're the title owner, they've had an eligible hardship, and they don't have a ton of cash on hand, but they have some money coming in so that they can pay for the taxes going forward. Step Forward will pay up to $30,000 of delinquent taxes, and we've had over $10 million come to Oakland County families, some, you know, in this area, to get help with that. And so that's a really important resource. But if people don't know about what's going on at the county and what resources are available, then there's a disconnect. And our democracy like I said, to really be strong and to flourish is people have to be able to be heard and to access the resources of their government. And we think we do a good job of that at Oakland County. But the challenge of getting the word out is something you can never do enough of. And we do it, like I said, across many vehicles and frankly many languages as well. Our foreclosure prevention notice we put out to many different communities within Oakland County to make sure that there's no barriers.
That was Andy Meisner talking a little bit about Oakland County government, how it works, and a wide variety of programs that are available to the public that hopefully you'll take advantage of. We'll be back in a second, and Andy's going to talk a little bit more about the Treasury Department. Back talking with Oakland County Treasurer Andy Meisner, no relation to Randy, great bass player for
But I am a big
the
Eagles fan, and
it's an unusual name. It's because it's connected. I'm an Eagles fan, so that was the only reference.
oh yeah, love the Eagles.
One of the things I think is fairly accurate is that I don't think local folks, and I kind of alluded to it in the first session, is that what is first of all the job of the treasurer, number one.
Yeah.
And I guess what takes up most of your day, and then what's the gravy? What's the auxiliary things that you do? That you've mentioned some of those programs. But
Sure.
What's your core? Where do you
Yeah.
start? Those kinds of things.
Well, the core.
Tell you what, let's start this over.
Yeah, you know what? I think I just
You just dropped. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. You just dropped a little ball right between your feet.
Oh, there.
Don't worry about that. That's not going to hurt anything. We'll just start this over and I'll cut it. 5, 4. We're back talking with Oakland County Treasurer Andy Meisner. Again, no relation to Randy, great Eagles bass player. And we're talking a little bit about the treasurer's office. And I guess what I would like you to break down for us is what's prime responsibility? What is it that you know you have to do every day? What's the core of the process that maybe we don't understand? And it might be simple as math, balancing all of those the books that you have to deal with. And then you've mentioned a number of auxiliary programs. Where has been your focus, and what is your focus maybe over the next 6 to 8 months?
Yeah, well, there are a few of the core functions that are important to go through. First off is I'm the banker for the county. So in terms of just the basic mechanics of the county moving, the money that comes in to Oakland County comes in through our office.
And you're about $1.5 billion.
That's right. Yep, $1.5 billion on hand right now. And money comes in, and we're helping to receipt for that and account for that in coordination with our friends in fiscal services, a part of working with them to maintain the general ledger. And then all the money that goes out, any expenditure that Oakland County makes, that happens through our office. And so every couple weeks, payroll, that's produced through our office, paying our vendors, paying the kids working at the parks, if you get jury duty,
right?
Getting that. I'm sorry, it's so small, but that jury duty check,
right? That's some salt for snow if it comes in April.
Yeah. And so money coming in, money coming out, and then the surplus funds. I'm the chief investment officer for Oakland County, and so I'm responsible for investing those dollars in a way that, number one, protects our principal so that we never lose a penny. I've never lost a penny as county treasurer. 2, that helps us meet our liquidity needs so that when that payroll comes around next Tuesday or next Wednesday, that the money's in the account and it goes out without a hitch. and then to achieve some yield.
How many employees at the county?
We've got over 3,000 employees at Oakland County.
So a monthly salary would be in the neighborhood of
$10 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You were talking about being an investment officer.
Yes.
Maybe explain. There's been all kinds of issues with governments investing in a variety of
Yes.
retirement accounts and things of that nature.
Yeah.
How do you differ as a government investor? What's the bonding for that versus maybe somebody who is in my personal tax account or those kinds of things?
Yeah.
Are you bound by any different processes?
We are, and there's a couple different hats that I wear. I manage the county's cash, which is this $1.5 billion, and invest that in certificates of deposit and federal agencies and T-bills and overnight money market accounts and some short-term commercial debt. I'm also the treasurer for the Oakland County Pension Fund. That's another $2 billion. And that is where we are bound by Public Act 314 of Michigan is the one that kind of sets the rules for how the pension investment decisions are made. Now, in Oakland County, we're pretty conservative in our approach financially.
Conservative meaning safe, not necessarily Republican.
Right, that's right. That's in a financial way, that's the best kind of conservative,
right,
from my perspective. But that's our approach, and so we're not going to reach for some sort of investment. We're not going to do a deal on a used car lot somewhere. We're going to really deal with vetted financial investment professionals that do institutional work, and we've got to generate enough money there so that we can pay out our retirees that have been on the defined benefit plan, and make sure that also our retiree health care costs, which we bonded for as a county. And as to your bonding question, Oakland County is AAA rated from a bonding perspective, and so the rating agencies like Standard & Poor's, Moody's, we invite them to come and to review us and our creditworthiness and our budgeting practices, and they look at our 3-year rolling budget. They look at the fact that we've got good surpluses. They look at the financial health, that the pension is over 100% funded.
Is your background financial?
Actually, I was more in the policy world. I started my career working on Capitol Hill for a couple members of Congress, one from Wisconsin named David Obey,
yep,
and then Congressman Sandy Levin.
Okay.
So I was a policy advisor, and then I came home to Michigan after about 5 years or so on Capitol Hill. I also worked in the nonprofit sector in DC for a couple years as a vice president of marketing and communications for a national nonprofit. Then I came home and started law school, and the woman that was our state representative decided to run for state senate, and I didn't come from some kind of political family and didn't have much political background, but I felt like I had some useful experience from my time in DC, and ran for state rep then. And I got my law degree in the evening and weekend program at University of Detroit while serving in the state house. So it's a long way of saying that I don't have a traditional financial background, but because of a lot of what we do is governed by state law, I had a little bit of a leg up on it, and it's worked out pretty well. In the last 10 years, generated about $300 million for the county, and we maintained the AAA even during the toughest times of the recession. And what we're focused on is just getting the tax base back, and frankly, making sure that no families are left behind. They talk about the recovery, but the fact is that there's still a lot of our families right here in Oakland County that are suffering and that haven't been made whole since working in the prior to the recession. And we got to strategize with them to make sure we're providing the same prosperity there as we are in other places.
If I'm sitting out and I'm a citizen, I'm watching the show, what don't I know about your office?
That we manage all the money for the county, that we administer the delinquent property tax fund for the county and the delinquent tax process, They might not know that I'm the treasurer for the Oakland County Arts Authority and the Zoo Authority and the Oakland County Public Transportation Authority. They might not know that I'm on the board for the Business Finance Corporation for Oakland County, and that I'm also the vice chairman of the Oakland County Building Authority.
Wow.
You know, there are all these functions at the county that the treasurer is involved in, and so it makes for a really diverse, interesting kind of range of functions.
Taking a step out, just one of those small things.
Yeah.
We pay a small tax for the Detroit Institute of Arts.
That's right.
Maybe explain what it's available for people to come down and watch
Yeah.
and visit if you're an Oakland County resident.
Yeah,
And
well-
how that kind of fits with the tax.
Well, you know, I tell you, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I think that is a very strategic investment that Oakland County's making. You know, we've learned that cultural institutions like the Detroit Institute of Arts, by the way, every Oakland County resident
Free.
gets free admission.
Yep.
Any day of the week to go down there. You can chip in a little bit extra if you want to see one of the particular exhibits. There's a Star Wars exhibit right now. There's also a baseball exhibit. They got $1 million baseball card there. I think it's an 1897. I forget whose it is. Who is it?
Ornis Wagner.
Good call, the journalist. Props. So what happened is in 2012, we agreed that we would invest a small portion of our property taxes in the Detroit Institute of Arts, in its own authority, no longer owned by the city of Detroit. It is independent. And so the Oakland County Arts Authority collects the proceeds of that investment and then transfers it to the DIA.
Through your office.
Through my office and the Arts Authority. And that also gives us an opportunity to make sure that the citizens of Oakland County are getting the deal that was promised. You know, for instance, a few years back when the former director was there, you know, they weren't necessarily paying as careful attention. And so I brought to their attention that they were required to spend at least $300,000 a year in Oakland County on supporting local arts initiatives. Mm-hmm. So if you know of any arts initiatives locally in the Ortonville or this area that are worthy of support, we need to connect them with the DIA because they have a spend requirement.
2 years ago, we had Picasso in the park here.
Oh yeah, as part of the
Inside Out program. Yes,
very cool. Yeah,
and it was breathtaking because people weren't really sure about it. What was interesting, like most art, it created a controversy in the sense that people talked about it. Yeah. And once it was explained to them, they went, "Wow!" And you could actually see on weekends, people going from area to area where some of the outside displays were put up.
Well, I think the arts are very enriching, and what I was going to say, when I was chairman of the House Commerce Committee, we studied this issue and we learned that not only are the arts enriching, but the arts are also economic development. And the arts also bring about a whole economy associated with it. Think about somebody graduating from Center for Creative Studies or whatnot and going to work for one of these video game companies. Or doing some sort of design, going to Pixar, going somewhere to become maybe an independent filmmaker. It's a positive thing, and it attracts investment.
The Big Ten is now offering scholarships because their video games have now become a sport. And Michigan State has a video, Michigan has them.
Is that right?
And now kids are going there, it's a competition, and if you watch some of the TV on Saturday nights, they put 20,000 people in the stadium to watch these gamers.
Yeah.
You can now win a college scholarship playing video games.
Well, we talked a little bit before that I do this art contest.
Yes. Explain it.
It's an art contest for kids in Oakland County, and the theme is financial literacy. So we have these kids from all across Oakland County that participate, and they have to read the state public school curriculum benchmarks for financial literacy. In other words, the specific things that an 8th and a 12th grader need in Oakland County to know to be able to graduate. And so they take that and then they develop an art piece that incorporates some sort of financial literacy lesson. And they can do it as a movie, they can do it as a dance, they can do it as a painting, a drawing, charcoal, whatever creative medium they choose, a sculpture. And we've been doing it for 7 years. We've given out about $70,000 in scholarships. But my point is that we've had a number of kids that participated in the art contest that went on to have careers in video game design right here in Oakland County. There's a company in Farmington Hills, this guy Than McClure, who is, if I'm not mistaken, I think his company has built some pieces for IA, which is I think one of the big sports franchises on
Madden.
It's Madden.
Yes.
Yeah. And he was kind enough, I think, to take one of these kids as an intern. And but I want to illuminate those career opportunities. And maybe it's graphic design, maybe it's being a classical artist, but that's something that's good. And we've got some real talent in Oakland County. It's fun to profile it.
And what you're looking at your screen right now is the Ortonville winner from that contest.
That's right.
At the picture that you're looking at, which is a silver bear, there's a little piece of artwork that they had entered, and it's pretty cool.
That's right. This was a honorable mention, and we judge the art contest based on 3 criteria. One, the extent to which the lesson is incorporated in the work. So what does it teach? 2, creativity. And then 3 is artistic ability. So you don't have to be a Rembrandt to win money in our art contest. You have to be thinking about it carefully. And so we had this student that submitted this very stark photographic submission of this bear, kind of like a piggy bank bear that's on its side. And we were quite moved by it. We thought that it really captured an important message. And personal finances, when those go wrong, the stress level goes up.
Right.
And you kind of lose track of things. And so some of the artwork captures that sentiment. And this Brandon High School student did that very well.
Financial responsibility and the knowledge of that is about learning about checkbooks and making sure you have money in the bank versus an algorithm for increment financing for a DDA. I mean, it's a difference. So it's a very basic elementary process, but that's kind of what the point is.
Yeah, and these days they probably have an app on their iPhone or Samsung or whatever it is, and so you don't see as many people classically balance their checkbook because they just push the app to see where they are. But my premise is that these things are not taught as much as they need to be in the home or at school, and we send these kids out into the world, and if they don't have the hardware to be able to really take control of their finances, we're opening the door to a lot of stress. And the folks that just take the time to do some skill building and to figure it out a little bit, they're the ones that can focus their energy and attention on other things, and we want them doing that.
Couple last questions. I want to pose these in the right way.
Okay.
What is your largest challenge? What is your biggest challenge at the office? I don't want to say what you don't like the least, but what's the biggest challenge? And then what's really the thing that makes you smile the most?
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest challenge is that we still have a lot of families in Oakland County that are struggling. We still have thousands of households that have delinquent property taxes, and that's like a canary in a coal mine. That's a sign that there's a warning sign that there's something going on. And so that's what I worry about is those folks and making sure that they're accessing the resources that they need, getting connected with job training opportunities. We're doing a lot to promote the building trades and vocational and technical education, college, community college. There are pathways to prosperity for these folks, and we want to make sure that they're taking those. And I think the other thing that I worry a little bit about is just that our region is changing right now, and there is a lot of consolidation that's happening in the city of Detroit, which is a good thing. But as a county, we in Oakland County, I think we need to really be thinking about how do we stay ahead of the curve, and how do we do that in an environment where we've got a strong central city. What waves of opportunity could that send our way, and maybe we could all get rowing in the same direction so that we're competing successfully with other regions and other states for some of these important developments, like Amazon headquarters 2. We didn't even make the top 20,
Right.
and that's a missed opportunity. That was going to be 50,000 jobs, and
But Amazon's also going to end up with a lot of things that we couldn't offer financially, tax-based opportunities, those kinds of things. They're essentially going to end up giving it away.
There was a pretty generous package that was offered here, but
Unbelievably generous, but not to the point of giving it away as there are some other communities that are going to end up with it.
Well, what they told us is that we failed on two fronts. That the fact that we don't have a regional transit system was a disqualifier, and the other one was that they were concerned about our talent pipeline. We've taken billions of dollars out of our K-12 system. Our educational achievement rates in the state are going down. They're looking at that, and they're questioning whether or not we've got the talent to be able to meet their future needs. Now, I want them to know that our kids are as smart as any in the world, and that we recognize the importance of investing in education, but that we need to double down on that so that we can be more competitive. Now, those are a couple things that keep me up. In terms of something that makes me smile, is that we live in the greatest county in the entire country. Oakland County is extraordinary. It's a beautiful place. We have charming little downtowns. We have rural living. We have suburban and urban opportunities. Clarkston, Ferndale, Royal Oak, and I get the privilege of representing a very special place. And so that's something that puts a smile on my face. And as my wife Sarah and I raise our two boys, Asher and Levi, 5 and 2, right here in Oakland County, we feel great about where we are, and we feel like there's a lot of hope for even better days, down the road.
I guess the last question is that your transparency and accessibility are out in front. Your phone number is listed, and I believe 412-ANDY?
248-421-ANDY.
421-ANDY.
And that's on my website. That's on my business card.
I guess I'd ask the first question: is that smart as a public official? Yes, it is. But
the democracy depends on it.
No, I get it.
People don't have to. They might not love me. They might not hate me. I don't know what it is, but they're at least going to be able to reach me. And that is really something I think that is an important building block of a healthy, thriving democracy. And I'm all about that. And so the access and being able to, talk with your elected officials, and you're not always going to love the answer that you get, but at least you get to ask the question or to talk about it.
Well, hopefully, we've learned two things today. There's a phone number if you do need to talk to somebody.
248-858-0611, or my cell phone, 248-421-ANDY.
And then the follow-up to that would be is if you got an issue, pick up a phone.
Yeah, and that's true for me. That's true for your local elected officials as well, state, federal. We all work for you guys, and so we get as much, we get as good a democracy as we insist on,
Cool. We've been talking with Andy Meisner, Oakland County Treasurer. We appreciate your visit, and thank you for giving us some information.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We'd like to thank Andy Meisner for coming in, the Oakland County Treasurer, and talking with us a little bit about the office and government and a plethora of programs that are available for the average citizen to pay taxes, to figure out things. I think the lesson we learned today, if you've got an issue at home and you've got an issue with the government, pick up the phone and call. Andy's number, as indicated, was 241-ANDY. That was a 248 area code, so it's pretty transparent. If you want to get a hold of him, do that, because I think it was a great interview, and I think one of the things I learned was that Andy's a regular guy and he's trying to help any way he can. So we appreciate his visit here to Ortonville, and for next week we've got some more things coming back. But for now, for the guys in back and for myself, Greg Norman, we'll see you next week on Inside O-Town.